Thank you for being here again, Ms. Parker. You'd be aware of the Rosado High Court decision. So can you tell me, has that Rosado High Court decision stopped the Fair Work Ombudsman seeking statutory award and national employment standards entitlements owed to employees who have not been paid those lawful entitlements? Has it stopped your work pursuing that?
Thanks, Senator. I'm just referring the question, if you don't mind.
You're in capable hands there.
Yes, I am.
Senator, we obviously look at every request for assistance that comes through to make sure that each employee that comes to us gets their lawful entitlements.
So the High Court Rosado decision hasn't stopped you pursuing these claims?
So the High Court Rosado, as you will remember, will recall, inserted the statutory definition of casual, as well as the casual conversion mechanism for those who don't have one in their award, as well as the statutory offset mechanism as well.
I ask this because at the last Senate estimates, the Fair Work Commission stated very clearly that statutory award and national employment standards entitlements cannot be removed by enterprise agreements or employment contracts. We established at last Senate estimates that an employer's ABN number is very important to identify the actual employer. It is extremely important for payroll tax purposes and compulsory employer superannuation payments. Is the Fair Work Ombudsman investigating any employer ABN issues, and have you asked the ATO for any documents to clarify the employer and ABN in those cases?
Senator, we in these forums obviously don't like to talk about particular investigations, but I can say that we are broadly looking at that issue and also partnering with ATO in relation to a specific case example at the moment. It's dependent, obviously, because of the very strict secrecy laws that the ATO has. That's taking a bit of time, but yes, I can confirm we are looking at those broad issues.
Okay, thank you. How long has it taken in the past to get information about employees and their PAYG summaries to cross-check the employer ABN number on those employees' payslips that are involved in a dispute about underpayment of statutory award and NES entitlements? Does it take a long time?
Well, Senator, as I said, the information that we get when we have any investigation will obviously be informed first and foremost by the information that we'll get from the affected employee, and then obviously usually we'll also speak to the would-be employer as well, get that information, assess that and see if there are any evidentiary gaps, and then go to other regulators, including the ATO, to see if they've also got information that may assist in our assessment in determining, I guess, the veracity or otherwise of particular documentation that we've been provided with.
Okay, so it shouldn't take too long, but I recognise it'd be highly variable.
Well, what I would, as I have mentioned previously, the secrecy provisions around taxation information does make it quite difficult and sometimes can take a while. Often we'll actually have to get the consent of the particular employee involved, then provide that consent to the ATO for them to provide that information to us.
If that consent's readily available from the employee making the complaint, then it shouldn't take too long.
Look, I wouldn't...
No, I'm not trying to pin you down. I'm just trying to...
No, look, understood, but it's still a process.
Mm-hmm. Does the Fair Work Ombudsman use court decisions that emphatically show who a true employer is? And are you aware of any major relevant court decisions from 2017 that have been provided to yourself, Mr. Ronson, or one of your investigators, Fair Work Ombudsman investigators?
So, Senator, again, I think this, we're very happy to talk outside this forum about a particular case. All I would say is a court decision applies to whoever the parties are in that particular case. That doesn't necessarily mean or translate that another employee, perhaps who might be in similar circumstances, that the exact same outcome might apply, it will still require us to independently look at the circumstances of that employment and form a view about the identity of the employer, for example.
Okay, but if it was the same employee, then there'd be proof of that employee's ABN number and the employment status. If the court decision was that way?
Potentially, if it was the same employee and if that court was looking at the exact same issue, what I would say is I would have to look at that particular circumstance closely. And again, as I said, very, very happy to discuss any particular matter.
Yeah, I understand that a Fair Work investigator was provided with a copy of a court decision involving an employee, the same employee who's trying to establish a connection with or an employment relationship. And that was in the CFMEU versus Hunter Valley Energy Coal.
Yes, Senator.
I asked this because it would easily cut down waiting time or wasting time. When a person's, this is my last question, Chair, when a person's weekly wage is wrong, underpaid, so is their compulsory super employer contribution and their, in the case of the coal industry, the coal long service leave contribution as well. They all flow on, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Could I take you up on that offer to come and discuss that case?
Of course, Senator.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks.